Good evening, everyone. We're continuing the lecture series, Common Questions. We spoke about a lot of interesting things last week that brought me a lot of replies this week. And we will continue.
I didn't get an answer on all those questions you said.
Which one?
I didn't hear none of them.
You have to check again. There was answers to every one of the questions. Yeah. We spoke about respecting parents mainly, if you remember. And parents that did the wrong thing. And the lecture started, in case you didn't realize. So we'll talk about different things today. My father is asking me to buy him cigarettes, smokes. We already spoke in the past that cigarettes, smoking, it's a sin from the Torah. Anything that brings health issues to the body of a person, even though body, it's body. You cannot compare the body to the soul, but without the body, the soul in this world is also worthless. The soul needs a place to live in. If the body is not healthy, it's actually damaging the purpose of the life of that person in this earth. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent the neshama, the soul, to this world, the neshama cannot function in this world without the body. Therefore, the body must stay healthy. When the body is not healthy, it affects the neshama directly, right away. It affects the body, the neshama directly, the soul, which the soul actually is not able to fulfill the mission in life. If a person is laying in bed, he has a surgery, he has to spend 3-4 months laying in a hospital, he's unable to do what Hashem is expecting him to do. What caused him to end up in a hospital or in a surgery or all kinds of things that we see all the time is his lack of attention, that he actually neglected his body and he did not take care of his health. He did not do activity. Certain things today we know based on science that we did not know 40, 50 years ago. 40 or 50 years ago, not everyone knew that cigarettes kill. Actually, some of the people thought it's healthy, it helps digestion, the stomach. Until today, we find many people smokes inside the bathroom, thinking it helping to, to clean the body from the waste. Even if it's true, even if it does help, it causes 80-something other diseases. What's the point of helping you in something that it's not so significant and causing so many other damages? One of the sicknesses that it causes, without any doubt, everybody agree, it's cancer, mainly to the lung. And cancer to the lung kills a person. It's not something you can get cured from. Therefore, cigarettes kill. If a father asks his son to go and get it, the question is the son is allowed to get it for his father or not? Technically, before we ask about going and getting him a pack of cigarettes, let's say the father is asking him to hand him a cigarette from his own pack. You have a pack of cigarettes, and your father is asking you to give him one cigarette to hand it to his hand. Is it allowed or not? If this is not allowed, it still doesn't mean that to buy him a pack of cigarettes is the same answer. It's two different things. Why? Giving it directly to his hand, or buying a pack of cigarettes and putting it on the table and he takes it, and he takes the cigarette from there, it's not the same level of sin. Handing him the poison directly to his hand, or putting it on a table and he chooses to take, it's two different things.
You know he's going to use it.
Yeah, I know you know that he's going to use it, but you did not give it to him. But it goes one step further. If you won't go and get him the cigarette, there's any doubt that he's going to go himself and get it? He's going to do it anyway. So here, this is becoming a very problematic question. Some will say it's absolutely not allowed. But there is other opinions. There's other opinions that the damage of the cigarettes It's a collective damage. It's not a direct damage that he smokes the cigarette and right away, in the last 5 minutes, you can see the damage that was caused to his body. If you add 40 years of smoking, yes, it's overall a huge damage. But this cigarette, what impression it made on his life? It's like someone who's losing hair. Every day he finds in a sink another 20, 30 hairs. But from 100,000 hairs, 10 in a sink, did not make him more bald today. Nobody really see the difference. But overall, if he adds up what happened in the last 3 years, then he has no hair left. But this particular damage, if this person had to sue the person who pulled 10 hairs from his head, would he bother suing him? But if he takes all the hair from his head and made him in one shot bald, of course he would sue him. Oh, you just ruined my beauty. Or the other way around. Sometimes it adds to the beauty, depends. Today it's in fashion. In Israel, all the people that have hair, they shave their head now. You know. So the answer is, the ones who are allowed, of course it's not recommended, and it's in a nice way. The only problem is why there is one opinion that allows it, because not doing it is actually not respecting your father. It's one way or the other. It's either a sin or a mitzvah. That's why it's a problematic question. Because if it's allowed, by not doing it, you're actually violating a sin from the Torah, an obligation from the Torah. But if it's a restriction, then you're not violating anything.
Why is it not different than Chilul Shabbat? If you know, he tells you get something which is not Chilul Shabbat, but you know he's going to do something Chilul.
No, that's a completely different thing. Cigarette, there's only one thing to do with that. It's something negative. When you get him something that he can be mechalel Shabbat with that, there's still no guarantee. He can use it on Sunday, he can use it, or he can use it for something that it's helping. Even if he tells you, get me a hammer on Shabbat. You know, hammer, with hammer, yeah, you can use it for nuts. You know, but if he tells you to bring him muktzeh, something you're not allowed to move, then of course you're not allowed. My parents is asking me to do something for them while I'm sitting and learning Torah. The Gemara is open. My father is asking me, go get me something from the car. But I'm in the middle of learning, which is the highest mitzvah right now. Am I obligated to listen to him or no?
Yes. Nobody else can do it.
Good answer. If there is someone else to do it, then he's not obligated. But if there's no one else to do it, then that's called mitzvah overet. Mitzvah שאינה יכולה להיעשות על ידי אחרים, mitzvah that cannot be done by others. It's definitely something that he has to put on hold, put the learning on hold, and then do it and come back to the learning. If he can add extra minutes to the learning, let's say he was planning to learn 1 hour, and it took him 10 minutes to do what his father asked, and he comes back, if he can add the 10 minutes, then he did not lose anything. He still did his hour, and he did the mitzvah. If he cannot do it today, it's still helping to add it tomorrow to the learning. Like for instance, if he has chevruta every night from 8 to 10, and he had a wedding of his brother or something, and he had today not to learn, if he can add these 2 hours every day, 10 minutes extra to the learning, he won't really feel the difference. Eventually he covers for the 2 hours. This is the right way. This is how a person shows that he was forced not to learn, but he's not giving up the learning. He's making it up in a different way. Next question. A kid that was born from rape. A woman was raped. She did not want to do an abortion, because abortion is a murder. And, eventually a kid was born. Does he have to respect the father?
No.
Yes.
No way.
You didn't expect this one coming, huh?
No.
It happens in life, believe it or not.
Yes.
It happens.
Who asked this question?
He has to respect.
The answer, no. If the father became a Baal Tshuva, yes.
And if he's not, doesn't matter, must it?
If not, based on the answer here, he doesn't have to. But I have a question. We spoke last week that the obligation to respect the parents, even though it's debatable, it's questionable, if you have to respect parents that are not keeping Torah or mitzvot. But the halacha, the normal halacha today, that the answer is yes. As long as it doesn't come on the expense of the Torah and the mitzvot, or they do not ask you to do anything against Hashem, then you have the obligation to listen to those kind of parents. But on the other hand, according to the opinion that parents that don't keep Torah mitzvot, you don't owe them any respect, then there's no questions here. Then you don't have to respect this father also. If he made tshuva, then you have an obligation to respect him. The question is, why does he say, I saw your hand in the first minute. If I ignored it, get the point. You understand? You don't need to hold your hand. It's not Aleph Dalet Gordon, first grade. You know, I used to do it like this until they threw me out of the class. You know? So the answer is, I just don't want to get off the subject, that's all. So the answer is, now if the father did not do tshuva, still his father. This father that did it, is it count for him mitzvat pru'urvu? You need to have a boy and a girl in order for you to have mitzvat pru'urvu. If this father already had his girl, and now he raped a woman, and now he had a boy from this rape. So now he has a daughter, and now he has a son. Even though it's from two different women, he still have a daughter and a son. The question is, does it count for him in Shamayim mitzvat pru'urvu? It's the first mitzvah in Taryag mitzvot. In the 613 mitzvot, does it count or no? So the original answer that every Jew that knows how to learn answer is mitzvah haba be'avera ena mitzvah. Mitzvah that comes through a sin is not a mitzvah. However, you have to know one more thing. This rule that mitzvah that came through a sin is not count as mitzvah. It's only if the mitzvah and the sin collides in the same second. Be'ayidna. But if the mitzvah is now and the avera is later, or the avera is now or the mitzvah is later, then one does not cancel the other. Now, when he did the crime, that's the crime today. When the mitzvah begins, when the boy will be born in 9 months. Right now, he's a big criminal. He may even die for what he did. Before that son will be born. But eventually, if he stayed alive and the son was born, he has mitzvah to do brit milah. He's obligated to circumcise this baby, which means this baby goes after him. And if one day this father dies and this is the only son he has, he gets it from the Torah, everything that this father has. He has the right, he comes to Beit Din, and he proves. Today it's easy to prove with DNA, but in the old days it was very difficult to prove, because no one even knows that he has any connection to these men. Now imagine someone say, oh, you know what? My mother told me that my father is this guy after he made that crime. In the old days, there's no way to prove. Today, they can force him. DNA, it's not a proof in a Jewish court, because we go what the Torah told us. However, DNA can be used like leverage. It can be used to put pressure on a person to confess. In other words, if DNA doesn't lie, even though it's not true, I spoke to my judge friend in San Diego about a new Israeli invention that there's a way to modify the DNA. You can basically put innocent people in prison by faking DNA, believe it or not. It's already an invention. So I asked him, what would you do as a judge? Right now he's sending people for life in prison. He's a judge in a criminal court in San Diego. You're sending people, but most of the conviction is based on DNA today. When this Israeli invention will become, popular, it's going to be everywhere now, how are you going to be able to use DNA? If somebody wants to send his enemy to jail, all he has to do is to play with the DNA in a lab, put it in a place of the crime after he murdered someone, and right away that person, and they find a hair, and they do it in a way, I don't know how they do it. Because DNA is 1 to 8 billion. The chance that it will be mistake in a DNA, I once read, is 1 to 8 billion, and the whole world doesn't have 8 billion people. So there's really no chance to make mistake. So in other words, if they found that the son and the father is the same DNA, which means, camera, Which means that if we know that this is the father, he cannot deny it. So if he say, well, you cannot convict me in a Jewish court because DNA is not acceptable in the laws of the Torah, what can you do? I deny. The Beit Din can take actions against him. So, okay, we will announce you're not allowed in any shul. No one is allowed to do business with you. They have power. You can even put him in jail. They cannot actually convict him, but they can make his life Gehenom. Therefore, it's still significant. So in a case like this, if the son is born later on, then it counts, the mitzvah came 9 months after the sin, so it's counted as pru'urvu. The only thing we have to understand, why he doesn't have to respect his father? After all, this father is not worse than someone is mechalel Shabbat. Right? What's the punishment of the rapist according to the Torah? Not death penalty. What's the punishment of mechalel Shabbat? Death penalty. Which leads us to believe, based on the punishment, that the punishment of the crime of mechalel Shabbat is a much bigger crime than someone that is a rapist. Even though in our day, if you come and ask an average Israeli, what's worse in your eyes, mechalel Shabbat or a rapist? He's gonna look at you like you're not normal. Are you normal? What are you asking me? You're comparing mechalel Shabbat to this monster? This monster, I would chop his head off myself. Mechalel Shabbat? All my best friends are mechalel Shabbat. What are you talking? We don't care what people think. We care what Hashem think. Always get it to your head. Every day I have questions about mixed marriages. Mixed marriages is the sickness of the generation. Baalei tshuva in the family get caught between what they want to do, between what their parents and the family wants to do. On my way here, one guy spoke to me on the phone that he is very serious Baal tshuva, and his fiancée very serious Baalat tshuva. I know both of them personally, but the family that pays for the wedding are far away from being Baalei tshuva. And they force them to do a mixed wedding. Not mixed dancing. For mixed dancing, he was ready to even cancel the wedding, if that's the case, because he knows it's a horrible crime. But mixed seating, dancing separate, mixed seating, husband and his wife, Like it's like sitting in a restaurant, it's mixed seating, glad kosher restaurant. The only problem with these mixed seating weddings, that is Rav Moshe Feinstein, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, was the chief rabbi of America, perhaps of all time, not only in our generation. And he knew the situation in Lower East Side and in Flatbush and all these areas here with lots of Americans are far away from Torah and mitzvot. And he saw that it creates big fights in the families. So for the sake of peace, he allowed, if there's no other way, to do mixed seating, not mixed dancing. There's no Orthodox rabbi in the world that allow mixed dancing. There's no such thing. It's a very big crime. Sodom ve'Amorah, Sodom and Gomorrah. But mixed seating, like you said, what's the difference sitting in a wedding? But the problem with this mixed seating, is that how are you going to cover the women that dance? Because if every table is a man sitting there, no matter where you're going to be, they're going to have access to see the women dancing. So what are you going to do? You have to cover the dance floor from all 4 directions, which is not exactly aesthetic. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's already making a lot of problems. I always answer the people, you have to accept a decision. Do you want to make your guest happy, or you want to make HaKadosh Baruch Hu happy? That's the decision. If you have 7.5 billion people that will cheer for you and kiss your feet and praise you and die for you, but Hashem will be upset from you, or Hashem will be happy for you, and 7.5 billion people spit in your face non-stop every day, what are the choices that you have to make? You go with Hashem. Where is the dilemma here? It's hard, yes. It's not convenient, yes. It's disturbing, it's annoying, it's painful, it's sad, whatever you want to call it, you're right. But to make Hashem upset, Chazal writes מוטב לו לאדם להיות שותה. It's better for human being to be שותה. שותה means a complete fool, someone who lost his mind, retarded. It's better for a person to be שותה all his life than 1 hour to be wicked in front of Hashem. 1 hour. 1 hour to be a sinner. A lapse of the moment. Watching a dirty movie. That's how long it take. An hour and a half, an hour. That hour, it was better to be, you know, those fools on the street that goes with bags, 50 bags, and all the kids follow them, and they pull their things, and they make fun at them, and they throw stones at them, and they tell him, take off your pants, and they do it in the middle of the street. This kind of fools. In a park, they sleep on a bench, they didn't take showers for months, their shirts is full of rips. This kind of fools. 70 years to suffer like this, then 1 hour to be Rasha in front of Hashem. And a mixed wedding, it's not Rasha, it's Machtia Rabim that has no share to the world to come. It's no joke. Better not to be married. Better to stay single all your life than to make a mixed wedding with 500 guests who dance and kiss each other on a dance floor. Not to talk what happened after. What's the question? What's the question, Ma? The suffering afterlife for such a tragedy, it's much, much worse than 70 years walking on the street and people laugh at you. But the people don't know. They think it's a joke. Rabbi, today I'll do it. Tomorrow I'll do tshuva. It's not so simple to do tshuva with 500 people who committed sins because of you. It's not so simple. First of all, where are you going to find all the people? Where are you going to find them? And how you're going to bring back the sins. Some sins create new reality. The next question. My father is a prejudiced man. He doesn't want me to marry a Sephardi boy. But I have a very good Sephardi boy that I like. But my father is against it. He doesn't want him. Do I have an obligation to listen to him as part of respecting your parents or no? The answer, your father is telling you to make a big sin from the Torah. When parents tell their children to make sins, they are not allowed to listen to them. Not that they don't have to listen to them. If they listen to them, the kid will get punished, and the father will get his punishment. So therefore, if you really love your father, you won't listen to him. Because if he's going to ruin your shidduch, the punishments that he's going to have will be endless. Why? Because Hashem will punish him for every good thing that was supposed to come out of this marriage. The children that didn't come, the big dollar door that was supposed to be born from this marriage, children that would be in yeshivot, and sometimes it reflects that this couple, that the girl or the boy that listened to his parents not marrying the girl or the guy that they wanted, they die single. Who's going to pay for the agony that they had? Who? When these parents come to Shamayim and Hashem say to him, I'm very appreciating that you were keeping Shabbos, that you had a beautiful beard and a nice sombrero. I really like the fact that you were in shul every morning, 7 a.m. I like the fact that you gave your life to eat kosher. Everything is beautiful. But I have to convict you in genocide. So I would say, what? Genocide? I did not kill a bug in my life. I was going according to the Ari. I did not kill mosquitoes. So what genocide? He say, do you see these 5,000 kids in yeshiva? You say, you killed all of them. Me? What? I never seen this yeshiva. He said, those were supposed to be your grandchildren and your grandchildren from the marriage of your daughter, who I prepared for her, a beautiful Sephardi guy, which was a very serious tzaddik. And because you're prejudiced or racist, whatever you want to call it, you messed up my plan. And therefore your daughter died single. And all these beautiful neshamot that was supposed to come to the world in reincarnation, they didn't come to the world as results of your crime. What should I do with you now? Over there he's going to get the point. Over here you get away with that. We don't want this kind, we don't want God. It goes both ways. Doesn't matter, Hasid against these. I know what you're going to say. Well, Rabbi, you know, it's different mentality. It's very hard for us to communicate with this way, and we are not used to this food. This is nonsense. The Torah unites all kinds of Jews. all kind of Jews. The power of the Torah to unite people is a miracle. Plus, it's already a fact that there's a lot of mixed couples from different parts of the world that got married and have fantastic marriage. So therefore, it's also a crime of, it's called sinat chinam. Sinat chinam. What does it mean, sinat chinam? You hate someone for nothing, is innocent. You saw someone from this country that wasn't a good person. Now you generalize, you don't want anyone from this country. But if you really knew all the people from this country personally in the world, and you would see how wrong you are, you yourself would be embarrassed of your generalizing and putting an X on 200,000 people. So therefore, kids like that they're not allowed to listen when the parents tell them to make a sin from the Torah, and this is definitely a Isur D'Oraita. Next question, how do I answer my parents when they ask my opinion about something that they did, but my opinion is negative? I don't like what they did. I'm going to have to tell them the truth. They may get upset after they hear what I think about what they did. It's like, for instance, my mother bought a very flashy dress for the wedding. Modest. She's a religious woman. Very, very flashy. It sends sparks all over. It's not, in his eyes, it's very tacky. But his mother asked, no, how do you like my dress? So what is he going to tell her? It happens to me once when I was in high school. In Israel, there's all kinds of expressions, but you don't always pay attention to what you say. So when they want to say something is ugly, they say in Israel, it's an Arabic color. So one time I come from school, my mother stands on the street, and this guy Arab is selling, thermosim, the hot trays for the hot water. What do you call it? Thermos, yeah. So I have 3 colors, green, light green, red, and another, blue. So she looks at me with the red. She says to me, what do you think about this? I say, this is an Arab color. What's wrong with Arab colors? You don't pay attention. So the point is now, what is he going to say to his parents? The answer, not always you have to tell the truth. If it may offend people, how do you like my jacket? No, you don't like it at all. What are you going to say? I don't like it. It's not my taste. What did you gain by that? Well, he got it already. That's it. That's his wedding suit. What are you going to get by that?
You're honest.
Also, if he paid a lot of money for it, if he bought it from a place that he can return it and he can get it half a price somewhere else, then it's lo ta'amod al dam recha. You tell him, it's a beautiful suit, but I tell you that you can get it for half a price over there and it's not too late. But if it's no refund, then you have to tell him you made a great deal. You don't tell him that it's half a price somewhere else. Why to eat his out? So the answer is, if you know your parents, that they're not sensitive people, they're not making big deal out of every little thing, you can say it by a hint. You tell them, it's nice, but, I saw this, already they get the point. Maybe they can return it and get something better. Next thing. Respecting my parents, where is the limit? I'm not a little kid anymore. I'm older than 18, but my parents still hit me. Yeah, there are things like that. How long would I have to take this? When tomorrow I'll be 50 and my father comes and hits me, still have to take this? The answer, run. When they come to eat, run. But you still have to, not to hurt their feeling, not to go against the rules of respecting the parents. Is a grandson obligated to respect his grandparents?
Yes, absolutely.
Or only his parents? If his father has opinions that he doesn't like, does he have to speak to him like he speaks to his father, with manners like a king? Or grandfather is already a different story. Hey, grandpa, can you be quiet, please? Can he say it? He cannot say it to his father. Can he say to his grandparents, can you be quiet, please? Nobody ask your opinion. This you cannot say to any person, not only to your grandparents. It's not the right way to talk. But you got the point, no? So the point is, the answer, yes. But if there's contradiction between what the parents say to the grandparents, the parents come before the grandparents. Parents comes before. What comes first? Your father-in-law or your grandfather? In respecting them. One wants to do the wedding here, one wants to do the wedding here. You pay for the wedding, not them. But each one wants the wedding to be in different place. Who you should listen to? Your grandpa or your father-in-law?
Father-in-law, for sure.
The answer, grandfather comes before. Because respecting the grandfather, it's mitzvah from the Torah. Respecting your in-laws, it's mitzvah de Rabbanan. De Rabbanan. It's rabbinical obligation. One guy was walking by the lake. This joke is only for people who understand Hebrew. Then I will translate. So he walks by the lake and he sees his mother-in-law sinking, drowning. She screamed, Moshe, help! So he took out his siddur and he started to say mincha. So his friend said, what do you do? Go save your in-law, your mother-in-law. Why are you now praying mincha? He said, I don't know. It says in Shulchan Aruch, I learned yesterday that there's mitzvah to pray mincha b'shkiat hachama. The Chama is thinking, Chama is also the son. Chama can be mother-in-law, can be the son.
That's a good one.
Now, can we get a father, a son, and a grandfather, one after the other, to go up to the Torah on Shabbat? Father and son we don't do because of Ayin Hara, or two brothers we don't do. But a grandson and a grandfather, one after the other, or it's also not acceptable. Some say in places that they don't actually say the names, like by the Sfaradim, they don't say the names. By the Ashkenazim, they say, Amod Ploni ben Ploni. They already say the name. By the Sfaradim, they say, Shlishi ha'oleh ya'aleh bekavod, but they don't say the name. Third one will come with honor, but they don't say the name. Some Sfaradi, they copy from the Ashkenazim. They don't know that by Sfaradim, the tradition was not to say the name. Why? Why Sfaradim don't say the name? Because the Gemara say, if someone is called to the Torah, and he refused for whatever reason is, it shortened his life. So the Sfaradim didn't want to take a risk saying the name, because it's if you don't call the name, you just come and whisper to him, you'll be the next. And he said, no, I don't want. You didn't call him. You just ask him if he wants to come. You didn't say his name. But after you announce his name, it becomes an obligation, because you gave him the mitzvah, and he refused to do it. It's an important mitzvah, go up to the Torah. Chaz v'shalom, it can take away from his life. So there, Sfaradim decided not to say names. Plus,
sometimes you could say a name and three people come up.
Three different people come. Well, if you go to Satmar and you say Amod Yoel ben Avraham, 50 people come.
Exactly. So
50 Yoel comes.
that's not good.
Then you go to Breslev and you say Amod Nachman ben Natan ben Nachman. 500 kids come up to the Torah. It depends.
Yeah, so somebody's going to be refused.
I know, okay.
What the rabbi is saying, so that means it doesn't matter. A son and...
So if they don't announce names, it's allowed. If they announce name, better to be machmir. There's no clear restriction against it. Then, am I allowed to say Kaddish? Ayin Hara, right.
Father and
So
son
if
as
you
well.
don't know, if you don't know it's a father and a son, people know why not.
Yeah.
In a hotel, nobody knows.
You have a good point, but sometimes it could be for different reason also. As a boy can say Kaddish on his grandfather, not on his father, on his grandfather. The father is still alive. His father is still alive. He needs permission from his father. My grandmother is secular and she constantly offending me for becoming Baal Tshuva. That's a common thing today. Should I just absorb and ignore her, or I have to put her in her place once for all?
Ignore.
The answer, tolerate. Let her talk. My father is in fight with his father. Father and grandfather are in fight. And my father is obligating me to disconnect my visits and relationship with his father. Am I allowed to listen to him or no?
No.
Now we have a contradiction here. What happened if the grandfather did a horrible thing to the father? Stole all his money, let's say. There are ridiculous things that are happening in today's world that you hear. Brothers do things to each other. Parents, sometimes there's horrible things that are happening in this world. So even though it's rare, it's still possible that it happened. By going with the grandfather and making the father upset, he make a sin from the Torah. Because the obligation to the father comes before to the grandfather. Or sometimes the other way around. Maybe the father did a horrible thing to the grandfather. And now by listening to the father is adding actually more to the problem. First, to hate a Jew, it's a sin to begin with. Before you even talk about your grandfather. Not to talk to him, to ignore him, to hate him in your heart, all kinds of things like this. Needless to say, grandfather. So he's allowed to be in touch with his grandfather behind his father's back, but without him knowing, to hide. And to tell him, hey, grandpa, I'm coming to visit you, I like you, everything, I know you're in a fight with my father. Make sure he doesn't know I'm coming. Because if he will find out, I won't be able to come. And then it's their both interest to keep it as a secret. Like this, no one gets offended. Father thinks he got what he wants. The grandfather gets the respect from his grandson that wants to do what Hashem wants. And everyone is happy. My father or grandfather are Mechalelei Shabbat. And their family putting pressure on me to use them as a sandak for my new baby. What should I do? We know the sandak that holds the baby passed from his traits and his blessing or his curse, whatever he has in his hand, he passes it to the baby. So the question is, he doesn't want to offend his father, obviously, but he also cares about his son. It's a contradiction now. What should I do? Give respect to the father as Mechalel Shabbat, and then hurt the future of my son? Or whatever happened with the father happened, I have to look at the interest of my own son. What should I do in a case like this? This is a very, very common problem on a daily basis. What should he do? What should he do?
It's very hard to explain.
To give it to the rabbi, nobody's going to complain. Everybody
Be
has.
surprised.
Offend everybody now.
Be a whole war.
Give it to the big rabbi.
This is also a very difficult question because we have sides, we have answer to both sides. One, by giving him the sandakut, you're making him see the positive side of religion. My son respected me, and he made him very happy. It's a very big thing for the parents or grandparents to hold their grandson. It's a very big thing for them, even if they're not religious. Even by the goyim, it's a big thing. So the point is that it's not giving it to him can kill him inside mentally. On the other hand, you have the interest of your kid. So I tell you about a case that happened like this in Monsey. One Baal Tshuva, his father is putting pressure to be the sandak, and he's not interested to give him. So he came to a very big rabbi, and the rabbi told him, give it to your father, and I will stand all day that day and pray to Hashem with broken heart that the negative things from your father will not pass to your son. That's what he said. So he was willing to sit for hours, read Tehillim, and cry to Hashem about strangers. He's not his son. Just to make peace, not to create fights. Because shalom is a very important thing in Judaism. My parents want me to call my son after my grandfather, which was an anti-religious, hater of Hashem, Mechalel Shabbat, etc. What should I do? The answer, if the name is David, you pretend you call your son David after your grandfather, but you aim in the time of the Brit, you tell the rabbi that named the baby before. When you say, Yikare Shmo B'Yisrael David, you have in your mind David HaMelech, or this rabbi David such and such. But what happens if his name is Herzl? There's no rabbi by his name. Who are you going to aim? Huh? Send these Ashkenazim to me immediately for a meeting. You know, when the Persians came from Iran to Israel, almost every family called one of their sons Herzl. They didn't know who Herzl was. They thought Herzl is the Mashiach. So he had a very nice beard. They didn't know he has a plan to make all Jews Catholics. But I know 7 Herzls, and all of them have horrible, horrible life. Each one of the 7. All 7 that I know, horrible life. No, if you learn Torah, obviously the Torah can save from anything. So what do you do in a case like this? One time I went to a Brit of one of my Baalei Tshuva. Baruch Hashem, it's Baal Tshuva already 15 years since then. That was about 15 years ago. So in the Brit was in a shul of Rabbi Chaimov in Queens. And they let Rabbi Chaimov name the baby. He's holding the wine. And he said, V'yikare Shmo B'Yisrael. And this guy, he comes and say, Eli. Eli. So I see the face of Rabbi Chaimov became a tomato. I'm going to call a Jewish boy Eli now, in a Brit Milah. Going to call him Eli later. Add Eli, American name. We need an Hebrew name now. So I see, that's how it was, look. Mamash like this, he's holding the glass. V'yikare Shmo B'Yisrael, Eli, it goes like this. It doesn't come out. Mamash, like 10 seconds like this. V'yikare Shmo B'Yisrael. So this guy said, Eli. Eli. The Ashkenazi Moel was clever, he got the point, and he screamed, V'yikare Shmo B'Yisrael Eliyahu. So the guy started to scream, no, not Eliyahu, Eli. So I, Baruch Hashem, I was there, and he's my student. I said to him, be quiet, you fool. You want to call your son like an Italian mafiosa, Eli? So he looked at me like that. I said, okay, he was quiet. They call him Eliyahu. By the way, I saw him a few days ago after 15 years, this boy. Never saw him from his Brit. I went to pick up a bag of tefillin last week, and he was sent to his father's house, and his father wasn't home. So I went, he was there. I almost told him, you know, the only reason they call you Eliyahu is thanks to us. Then he came back to me after the 20 minutes in a Brit. He said, no, you didn't get us. He was trying to fix the impression. We meant Rabbi Eli from the Gemara. I told him, you know Rabbi Eli from the Gemara, you know. You never heard about him in his life. Who are you telling stories? But Hashem wants how the baby to be called. He puts it in the mind of the person in the time of the Brit. He was supposed to be Eliyahu. Next thing, grandchildren, if their grandparents passed away, they have any laws of mournings for them, like they have with the parents? Partial ones, anyone? Huh? Out of respect, a little bit. It's not an official obligation.
One day, was it one day?
Like music. What you don't have to do, don't do. One of your grandparents just passed away. Are you going to a party? Your father's sitting Shiva. As a part of that courtesy, it's not the right thing to do, not to disrespect it. I'm a man. Can I sleep in the same bedroom with my grandmother? I'm in this bed and my grandmother in this bed, or it's also against the laws of modesty? Sometimes families come and they want to put the grandmother in one of the rooms. They have small apartment. They don't have, and in each room there's a kid or two boys. They want to put the grandmother to sleep in the same room. They don't have girls. If there's girls, they put the grandma with the girls. But they don't have room. Is it against the halacha or no? ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. Where were you until now? You didn't know the answer to all these questions? It happens every week. The answer aloud. Aloud. We're going to my grandparents for Passover night every year. And my grandfather is the one who tells the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim. Is it count for my father that is fulfilling the mitzvah V'igata lebincha? My father has every father has an obligation to tell the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim to his own children. By the grandfather, the head of the family, sitting on the night, and he is the one who does the talking. Does it count for my father also or no? Or the father still has to talk? The answer is, it's better for the father also to say at least one Dvar Torah to fulfill this mitzvah, for sure. But there is such a thing that a father can make a shaliach to tell the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim to someone, to his son. Let's say the father is in jail, lo alenu. Tonight is Passover night. He cannot be with his children. Someone come to visit him now. He say, can I ask you a favor? Here is $100. Go tonight in the middle of Leila Seder across the street to my family. Sit there for half an hour. Tell the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim to my children. I'm making you shaliach. It counts like he did the mitzvah. What happened if he wouldn't do it? So he's anus. Anus, he doesn't have the mitzvah. He doesn't have a punishment. Anus rachmana patre. But if you have a way to make a shaliach, you can make a mitzvah with shaliach in some mitzvot. Can a grandfather kiss his granddaughter, or a grandmother can kiss her grandson, or no? The answer, yes. Today, we have an halacha that when you see a Talmid Chacham, you have to rise. The question is, what's considered a Talmid Chacham? Someone who knows how to speak beautiful speeches? Someone who remembers the whole Shulchan Aruch by heart, every law, he has photographic memory, and he remembers all the halachot, like a computer? Someone that behaves like a tzaddik, but is not such a huge Chacham? Someone who made you religious? Someone that is the chief rabbi of the town? What is really considered Talmid Chacham, or all the above? What's considered Talmid Chacham? That you have to rise. You may have to standing all your life. He walks here in Brooklyn, every other person here is this rabbi of the shul, he's making balei tshuva, he's a speaker, he's writing in a magazine. A lot of Baruch Hashem, man de amarim over here. You might as well stand all your life.
He didn't teach him anything.
Huh?
He didn't teach him anything.
If he taught him, the Rama in Shulchan Aruch, the Rama writes, everyone that is bigger than you in Torah, that is deserved to be learned, to be taught from, that is able to teach, already falling into this category. But it's not according to all opinion. Is that the case? You have 1 million people almost that knows how to teach at least one page. Everyone learned at least one good page in his life, no? That he can teach. And also the word Talmid Chacham, it's something yachasi. It's always compared to who? Compared to Rav Elyashiv, who can call himself Chacham? No matter what a great Rav you are here in America. Stand in front of Rav Elyashiv Zatzal or Chacham Ovadia, you're a joke compared to him. But does that mean that we don't have to give you respect? Something yachasi. You can always say, well, Rav Elyashiv compared to the Rambam. You compare it? Oh, Rambam compared to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. There's nothing to compare. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai compared to Moshe Rabbeinu. Bottom line, you're only going to have to rise for Moshe Rabbeinu. Or Rabbi Akiva. That's it. If you're going to start doing the calculation. Obviously, that's not the halacha. So the halacha, some says someone שהוא מופלג בחוכמה. מופלג מחוכמה means extra knowledgeable in Torah, more than the average. But it still leaves a doubt. Who is considered extra? Which means higher than the average rabbis. There's average rabbis and somebody that everybody agree, wow, that's a top authority. But there's another expression that's called Rabo HaMuvhak, your official rabbi, which you have to give him extra special kavod, respect, more than other ones, even if he's equal to them, or even less than them, which for him, because he's your original personal rabbi. Some say, even if you learn a little bit from him, like David HaMelech, learn 2 halachot, from where was it, for Achitofel? For Achitofel, 2 halachot. Yeah, already told him Alufim, Yehudai, gave him all kinds of compliments. One of the most acceptable opinion is the one who made you Baal Tshuva. He is your official rabbi, even if you're not in touch with him. You owe him your life. You owe him your eternity. You owe him more than you owe your parents. Your parents brought you to this world, the Gemara say, and your rabbi bring you to life of eternity. That's why you owe him a lot more. Unless if your father is also a very big chacham. So today it's very hard to know. Bottom line, everyone that is knowledgeable as someone who knows Torah or teach Torah and people respect him, you give him just respect. Next question. In the middle of a lecture, as somebody speaks, there's 1,000 people in the audience, and this is like a eulogy to a big chacham that passed away. So they invited a lot of rabbis to speak. So as the speaker currently speaking, every 5 minutes another big rabbi enter the place. Everyone rise until he sits. It ruins the lecture. It's disrespect for the dead person, for the eulogy. Imagine how it look. You speak for 2 minutes, 1,000 people rise, moving chairs, noise. Not to talk about big chachamim that they begin to sing. So in a case like this, everyone rise a little bit. Not starting rising and ruining the actual speak, because you have an obligation to respect the speaker. So you move a little bit from the chair, and that's it. Unless if it's Gdol Hador. Gdol Hador Ichnas, you even stop the lecture for a minute until he gets to his place, unless if he say right away to sit. He goes like this, sit. Some of the big rabbis used to go especially from the back. I remember one time there was a story about Rav Yaakov Kaminetsky and Rav Moshe Feinstein, Zecher Tzadikim Livracha, that they came to the convention of Aguda. Now usually they used to come always from like a back door. They ask, where can we come in that nobody pays attention? But one time, they told him, rabbis, you're looking for the back door? He said, no, we're looking for the front door this time. So they asked, so they came in, and all, it was 1,000 people got up in a dinner until they went to sit on the stage. So they asked him after, rabbis usually always come quietly, coming in like a thief, that nobody sees you, because you don't want people to give you kavod. What changed today? So they answer, today, our wives were there. We wanted the wives to see the results of them giving 40 years of their life for us to learn Torah, to make them feel good. You see how these Gdolim think about every detail? When I'm alone, I'm not interested in all this respect. They come quickly, I don't want to disturb anyone. But if the wives were there, it's a different story. Next question. There was a couple without children. One rabbi came to them and gave them a blessing to have a boy. And he asked them, when they have the boy, to send him one slice of bread from the challah of their Brit Milah, of the Brit Milah of the boy. And a year later, they had a boy, but that rabbi in the meantime passed away. So they have the slice of bread from the Brit Milah, and they ask, do they have to send it to his wife or to his son? Or to no one? Since they cannot fulfill his request. What are they going to do? Put it on his grave? The birds will eat it. So the first thing comes to mind is we have a rule, ishto kegufo. The wife count like it's him. If his wife is not interested, that's the right thing to do. If his wife is not interested, what do they do? Why they do nothing? There's nothing they can do. They put it away, and then Pesach come, they burn it with the chametz, and end of story. One more question. The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, page 3, the Gemara says, Rabbi that learns one Masechet in a Gemara currently. Every day he learns this Masechet in yeshiva. אין ראוי לשאול אותו על מסכת אחרת שמא יתבייש ולא ידע להשיב. If you see he's learning מסכת Sanhedrin, don't come and ask him question about different מסכת. Maybe he's not right now remember. He has to go review it. You may embarrass him in front of people. Now this is a recommendation or this is the law? Sometimes whatever the Gemara say, it did not become an official law. Today. Is that the law, or it's a good recommendation when it comes to manners? The answer, that's how the Rambam pasak in Ilchot Talmud Torah Dalet Vav. אין שואלים את הרב מעניין אחר, אלא מאותו עניין שהם עסוקים בו, כדי שלא יתבייש. It's הלכה. In that case, today, everybody asks the rabbis everything. In one day, sometimes more than 100 different subjects in one day. So what do we do in that case? So the difference is, today most people ask questions that are not, you don't need a doctorate to answer them. You ask regular questions. Once in a while there's hard questions, I'm not saying no. Most of the questions, a normal Talmid Chacham knows the answer. But when they asked a question from a rabbi 2,000 years ago, everyone was a learner. Everyone in those days were like a chief rabbi of the world today. If he needed to come and ask his rabbi a question in a Masechet, that means it was a question that you need to sit 5 days non-stop until you get the answer. Now you come and asking him something about a different Masechet, he's going to have to sit for hours to come up with the answer. You don't do such thing. If he's learning the subject right now, I tell you a story. One time, Rav Shach, in the middle of the learning in Ponovich, he came down to the yeshiva. Usually he didn't come when everyone learns. He didn't want to disturb the learning. He walked in between, and he came to one guy. There was nothing special in yeshiva. He didn't consider like the star of the yeshiva. And he came to him and he said to him, Shimon, I have a question. All day I'm looking for the answer, and I can't find the answer, and I'm sure you're the one here, the only one that can give me the answer. Where is this Rabbi Akiva Iger, somewhere in a Talmud, that say these words? Rav Shach told him the words. Where can I find it? I don't remember where is this Rabbi Akiva Iger. This boy, he said, 1 second, Kvod Harav. He got up, he went to the shelf, he pulled the Gemara, he opened it up, and he said, Rabbi, right here. Right here. He said, thank you so much. All day for hours I'm breaking my head. Then after a few hours, he has his helper over there, Schaik, comes to him. He said, what was this show for? Rabbi, you know where this Rabbi Akiva Iger is. You fooled him, but I need an answer here. So he told him, this boy was going on a date with a girl for weeks. And he liked her very much. I was anxious to close the shidduch. In the last day, after it looked like a done deal, she broke his heart. And she canceled the shidduch. So I knew that he's completely broken. He cannot learn, he cannot focus. So today in the morning, I asked his chevruta, the one who learns with him, which Gemara you learned recently. So he told him, we learned this Gemara with this Rabbi Akiva Iger. So once I knew, he cannot go wrong. He just learned it a few hours ago. He knows where it is. So I came and I pretend that I forgot that, because I know the way the religious world is working. When the rumor comes in the streets of Bnei Brak that this Shimon, Rav Shach, Gdol Ador, came to ask him a question in a Gemara, his tax will go from 3 to 1,000. A week later, he was engaged to a different girl. And the girl that broke the shidduch, until today, she pulled hair by hair from her head. That she missed the Talmid that Rav Shach asked him a question. Are we allowed to ask the same question more than one rabbi and to get the answer that we like? No. Today we call it Rabbi Manoach. You know Rabbi Manoach? Ma? Noach. What? Convenient. We take 10 answers. Oh, I like this answer. This rabbi is not fanatic, Baruch Hashem. Allowed or not allowed? No. In general, a person has to have a rabbi that he asks him his question, and whatever he rules for him, that's what he has to do. What happens if his rabbi is not in town? Rabbi is overseas. No, in the days there's no cell phone. You can't reach him. Urgent, whatever. You have to ask a question. You can ask somebody else. It's not a dead of life issue. However, if you ask your rabbi and he told you something you don't like to hear, that's not the right thing to go and ask others, because that's already what Hashem wanted you to hear. Why are you playing games? Like one person wanted to do Goral Agra, to open the Chumash. He prays, Hashem, you show me if I have to get married to this girl or not. You have to, please tell me, I'm confused. Open it up. He didn't like the answer. So Hashem, you didn't hear my prayer, I'll pray again. He opened 500 times, hoping the name Rachel will come. I had a case like this. You have to listen to this. This story, it's 1 in a million. I have a friend. One day somebody comes to me and say, you know your friend, he used to come with me to lecture a few years ago. You know these friends of yours? Did you know he's a Kohen? I said to him, I know him 14 years. What Kohen? He said to me, one day we walked in the street, and Masiach lefi tumo. By the way, he said, my father used to do Birkat Kohanim in Yerushalayim, originally from Yerushalayim. So I told him right away, hey, so you Kohen, why you don't do Birkat Kohanim? He said, shh, don't talk about this. This guy is coming to tell me about my friend. What reason a Kohen has to hide the fact that he's a Kohen? The older he gets, the more he loses confidence that he won't get married. Because that limits his option. Because when you're 35, Most likely you're going to find someone that is divorced. It's very hard. You get to the 40 to find someone who was never married. It's much, much harder. So if you're a Kohen, you cannot marry a woman that is divorced. That limits about 80 or 90% of the options for you. If you don't have emunah strong enough in Hashem, or your desperation, or your agony, or your mental situation overcome your emunah, which happens sometimes, people not strong enough to handle the test. So you begin to have shortcuts. So right away, a red light went by me that we're trying to get him shidduchim. I don't want to have a share to get him a girl that she's divorced, ended up marrying him. I come to Shamayim, they say, look what you made halalim now. So I come to him in Shabbos table. He came to my house. We had guests. I told him, what did I hear that you're a Kohen? He said to me, God, his smile got wiped out completely. Who told you this nonsense? I told him, this guy told me he walked with you on the street. You said that your father used to do Birkat Kohanim. No! It was a joke. This guy, everything he takes serious. No, I was fooling him. I said to him, listen, it's not a joke. We're arguing and arguing and arguing. He doesn't give up. So I said to him, you know what? Let's ask Hashem. Let's do Goral Agra. Goral Achida, it's really, when you open. We're going to say a prayer. Hashem, show us if you're Kohen or not. We open whatever comes on the right side. If the word Kohen come, that means you're Kohen. You don't play games. You confess. He said to me, okay. We say the prayer. We opened the Torah, the Chumash. Guess what came out? Yitro Kohen Midian. So the word Kohen came up. So he said, no, that's not a Kohen. Kohen Midian is idol worshiper. I'm a goy. That's the Pope, Kohen Midian. We're talking about kosher Kohen, a Jewish Kohen. We're arguing for 15 minutes. People in the table, you know. I said, okay, we'll do it again. You know, it's not a joke. But this time you don't play games. He said, okay. And they begin to smile. I said, how come you're not nervous anymore? They say, I know in Sefer Bereshit you don't have Kohen. I'm going to open in the beginning. So this is word by word. I tell you what happened. I'm going to open in the beginning, and for sure, there won't be Kohen. And here you go. I said to him, no problem. Open whatever you are. He opened. The whole page was Haftarah, small words. Only 2 lines in the bottom, it was a beginning of a part of a parasha. What does it say? Malkitzedek Kohen Le'el Elyon. 2 lines. Malkitzedek Kohen Le'el Elyon. He was fooling me, opening Bereshit. He said, how can it be? In case you want to know the answer if he became a Kohen or not, he's doing Birkat Kohanim, the answer no. The answer to your second question, if he got married since then or not, is also no. Next question, because time is running out. What is the official job of a rabbi? Today it's everything. Psychologist, psychiatrist, driver, video guy, mediator, business arbitrator, anything you want today. You know, shlom bayit, teaching, Baruch Hashem, shatchan, doctor, stockbroker, accountant. But what's the official job of a rabbi? Huh?
I wanted to ruffle the lottery.
The answer, to get donations. It's a good thing there are people who are still laughing. The answer to teach Torah, to answer questions, and to help people, to do chesed. Everything else is not an obligation to the title. Just like you don't come to your accountant and ask him to drive you to places as a part of his job. You pay him to do your tax return, whatever. You don't say, well, since I just gave you $1,000 for my tax work, how about you give me a ride home, including a price? It's not working this way.
Count the blocks.
Am I allowed to ask a rabbi a question knowing that I'm worried about what he's going to answer and I know I'm not going to listen to his answers? So it's better not to ask because it makes it worse asking and not listening to what he said. That's the right thing to do. So it's better to play dumb, not to ask questions like this I don't have to do, or it doesn't really make a difference. You are obligated to do the truth with or without the answer of the rabbi. And if your rabbi went to Japan for a month, so now you don't have to do the mitzvah for 1 month because it's not around. If you know that's what needs to be done, you have to do it. Even if you suspect that that's what needs to be done, you still have to do it. You go and you clarify your doubt. The answer in question of halacha doesn't matter with or without what he say, you must do it. Now we are talking about advice. Advice. You want to buy this house or you want to buy this house? It's no halacha here. Both of them in the same street. You're just asking him to give you an advice as a holy person, which one should be better for you, the way he knows you, the way he knows things, he's in a community. So you want him to give you like a blessing, buy this house. You want it to come from his mouth. I had an uncle, alav shalom. He came to Rabbi Zion Abba Shaul, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, and he lived in Ramle, next to the airport. He told him, Rabbi, I'm about to get my pension money. Worked for Amcor. Amcor, it's a refrigerator, Israeli company, Aleim Shalom. I think they're already out of business. So Amcor, it's refrigerators. He worked all his life for this factory since he's a teenager. So now he goes on pension. He's about to get big amount of money for all the years that he worked. So he comes to him and he said to him, Rabbi, should I buy an apartment in Yerushalayim, but I'm going to have to take half of the value of the apartment, a mortgage, or I should buy an apartment in Ramle, because I live in rent right now. I can buy an apartment in Ramle and I don't have a mortgage. So Rabbi Zion Abba Shaul told him, when you have the money in your hand, then you come again and then ask me the question. He got very nervous. He thought the rabbi see that he's not going to get his pension money. Why, Rabbi, you see something? So he said to him, no. When you will have the money officially in your hand, then this question will become reality. Right now it's hypothetically speaking. When it will become official reality, Hashem will show me the right answer. Right now I cannot see. You understand? We learn a big thing from this answer. When that's a matter of the future of your life, we have emunah in Hashem, that He gives the big chacham the right answer. But if he's hypothetically speaking, Rabbi, which car is better, this one or this one? Who cares? You can say whatever you want. It's not going to make changes. Now it's a question, you want to buy it, which one is safer for your baby, which one is safer for your wife, which one is more comfortable, which one is reliable. Yeah, that's a different question already. Next question. I am going according to one opinion, one rabbi that has one unique opinion about halakha, but everyone else does the opposite of me. Do I have to cancel my opinion and go with the majority of the world? Or I can still stick to this unique ruling?
Cancel your opinion.
I give you an example. The Chazon Ish, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, was a giant Talmid Chacham. And the Chazon Ish has a unique ruling about Shabbos, Ilchot Shabbat, that if you turn the switch on Shabbat, besides the fact that it makes the light, the electric, it's like lighting, mavir, it's also a restriction of boneh. In Shabbat, you're not allowed to do construction, to build anything. By turning the switch on, you're closing a square that was right now open, a circuit, so you're closing it, which actually is building something. It was open, now you closed it, you made it perfect. No one ruled like that besides the Chazon Ish. It was a unique idea that he had, which makes a lot of sense, because there was a square that is incomplete. Now by turning it on, you actually made it a complete square. But you don't hear anybody else saying that when you light the light on Shabbat, you over al isur boneh. But some Ashkenazim, what we call the Chazon Ishnikim, they go dead or alive, 100% with the Chazon Ish. So if one of them live now somewhere in a community in the world, nobody is there going according to the Chazon Ish over there in that community. Let's say. I'm just describing a scenario here. Does he have to do like the community, or he has to stick to his unique ruling of the Chazon Ish in this particular matter? Huh? The answer, if the ruling is his own personal rabbi, he must stick with what he told him. Like the Gemara say, במקומות של רבי אליעזר, יעשו כרבי אליעזר. There's an argument in the Gemara, if you forgot to prepare the tools for the circumcision on Shabbat of a baby, all the things that you need, and now the Brit came and you don't have what you need. Now you have to go get it. You cannot bring it because there's the public territories. You need to use a goy to go and get it for you. Are you allowed, or you postpone the Brit Milah? Are you allowed to prepare it on Shabbat since it becomes a part of the Brit? And the Brit is also Chilul Shabbat. Cutting the Orla, it's actually a violation of Shabbat. But the Torah told you that you're allowed to do it on Shabbat. But the preparation for the Brit, the Torah didn't tell you you're allowed to do it on Shabbat. You had to prepare it before Shabbat. Use your head. Why are you violating Shabbat for no reason? You cannot do the Brit before Shabbat to prevent Chilul Shabbat, because it has to be on the right time. But preparing the Caesar, the razor, the gauze, all the things, the water, whatever the Moel needs, the wine there, everything, that could have been done on Friday. So the Gemara say, in a place of Rabbi Eliezer, they bring wood, they burn it, they make it whatever they need to create fire, to heat the water, because the baby needs hot water, whatever. They did it on Shabbat. No one else in Israel did it. Everyone held, they have to prepare it before Shabbat. But in a city where he was the chief rabbi, he allowed them to do it on Shabbat, because it was a gray area. Shabbat, Brit Milah, everyone knows it's allowed to do on Shabbat. To prepare it was a big argument. Everybody ruled that it's not allowed. You have to do it before Shabbat. But he ruled it's allowed on Shabbat. So now all of a sudden you have two different laws. In this city everyone does that, and in that city no one does that. I give you another example. I heard that there is a community somewhere in America that the rabbi allowed everyone to come to the shul on Shabbat with bicycle. You don't find it anywhere else in the world. Ben Ish Chai allowed to use bicycle. That was 100 years ago in Baghdad. Today, no rabbi allow in his community to come with bicycle, even though technically it's allowed. It's really not, you don't find an official halacha against it. The Ashkenazim are machmir in bicycle. They're worried that the chain will fall off, and then you get be stuck in the middle of the road, hot, sun, rain. You won't be able to overcome the test, and you're going to put the chain and go and continue to go. So the question is, if you worry what may happen, then I can add to you another million restrictions. What happened if this would happen? What happened if this? Why you use on Shabbat? Maybe it's going to break, and you need to fix it on Shabbat. There's no end to it. Why all of a sudden now the Ashkenazim decided to do extra here, and they don't do extra in million other things? It's not going to be it. So the answer is, it's very interesting. For years I was thinking to myself, what a shame that the Ashkenazim actually brought to the world this idea to be machmir with bicycle. It would prevent so much chilulei Shabbat. All the secular Jews that come now with a car and park 2 blocks away, you would allow them to come with a bicycle. Beautiful. You would prevent millions of chilulei Shabbat every minute. Why? If it's allowed, it's allowed. Rabbi Ishchai writes, it's allowed. Until Hashem showed me it's not so simple. We had a guest in Shabbat, in the Yom Tov. When was that? On Sukkot, the first Yom Tov on Sukkot. One guy who I called him and spoke to him on the phone. He was in Florida. And I called him, convinced him to come to the yeshiva. Because he told me through someone, he listens to my lectures all the time. So I called him. He heard my voice on the phone. You're calling me? If you call me to come to the yeshiva, I have to do it. He finished whatever he was doing, and he came to the yeshiva, and Baruch Hashem is still there. So when he was by my house, he's telling now a story. He doesn't know what I'm thinking about bicycle. He said, you want to hear what happened to me one Shabbat? After I listened to your lecture on Shabbat, I became Shomer Shabbat, but the shul is more than an hour walk, and in the heat of Florida, you come to the shul, you fainted already. So I say, I'm going to go with the bicycle. So I'm going with the bicycle down a huge hill. With the bicycle, the chain fell off. So I'm sitting over there for like 20 minutes. It started to rain on me. And I'm saying to myself, now I'm going to start fixing the bike. It's not allowed on Shabbat. I'm going to get all black. I come to shul, my hand's black. So one person walked by, said, what are you doing? So my bike just broke. He said, hey, you're not allowed to fix it. Now I was embarrassed from this person. So I walked with him. So I walked half an hour. By my whole Shabbat, my mind is, I just bought this bike a few days ago. Who knows who stole the bike? I put them by the bushes. After Shabbat I came, the bike was gone. The question is, what would happen if this guy wouldn't pass by? Probably would fix the bike.
Right, why isn't that considered camping? Why is it not No, because there's no Eruv in Brooklyn.
Most places have a roof. More.
Rabbi Yosef, the Hakana is in Ahava Be'ahava. He gave it to Rabbi Yosef, who is full of Rabbi Yosef.
Yeah.
He wrote the Perush, the actual writing and translated. It's in Ahava, to show it to you. He writes that he praised the people who built the Eruv in Brooklyn.
Yes. And I have to tell you something. That's the question if in Brooklyn has a roof or not. First of all, most of the streets in Brooklyn, it's questionable if they're Reshut Arabim or not, to begin with. Why? They're all wide enough, 16 amot, which is 8 meters, 24 feet. All the streets in Brooklyn are at least 24 feet. And they don't have a roof. But the only thing is, there's another condition that is questionable. Do you need 600,000 people to pass on that street or not per day? There's really no street in Brooklyn that you have 600,000 people walk per day.
Open streets, money for a bicycle.
Include Ocean Parkway. Now I'm going to tell you why Ocean Parkway has 10 million people go there a day, but it's still not considered 600,000 people. Why? Because most of the people are drivers who sits in car. Each car by itself is Reshut HaYachid. It's not a person who walks on the street, pedestrian. The condition is 600,000 people walking in the street, not sitting in a box that the box is rolling. Sitting in a box is like a house that is shifting, is sliding down the block. Huh? דגלי מדבר, הולכי מדבר, כנגד בני ישראל. So Rav Ovadia Yosef wrote in Yabia Omer that Ocean Parkway in Brooklyn, it's many people pass there, but each one of them is in a car. How many people walks in the street? 10,000 people, not even. But most of the people are in cars driving all the time. You can't count those, so it makes it a questionable issue. It's safek. Now, you also need the street to be open from both sides. Most of the streets in Brooklyn, it's square, but like you go to Englewood or to Monsey or Long Island, the street curves. So you don't really see the end of the street. What you see, it's a house because it's turning and then it turns again and there's up the hill, down the hill. You don't really see. It's not like you stand in Ocean Park where you can see it's endless, it's going straight, but there's no 600,000 people. So by making the Eruv of the Ashkenazim with a string, you surround the entire area with a stripe going from one stick to another, tying to buildings, and it covering the entire area. Now you're falling into the machloket of Rabbi Yosef Karo and the Rama. What's considered a roof? Do you really need a wall to surround the area? Or it's enough that you pull the string and the string covers the area. So it's a 50-50 machloket. We don't know. When Mashiach came, we know who was right. The Rama was a big chacham. Rabbi Yosef Karo was a big chacham. So it's safek. The second safek is if you need 600,000 people or not. It's a safek. It's also safek. Some poskim say if there's no 600,000, there's no Reshut HaRabim. Some say even without it, it's Reshut HaRabim. So you have two sfekot. Chacham Ovadia is known that whenever there was sfeka, two doubts, it makes it originally, immediately allowed to begin with, lechatchila. However, he wrote, Bishat Adchak, don't start carrying nonsense on Shabbat. If you really need, like, to move the baby, or something, or for Brit Milah, or for Shul, or your glasses to read in Shul, things that you need for the sake of Shabbat, he say you can count on a sfeka. Safek if Rama is right, or Rabbi Yosef Karo is right. And the second safek if you need 600,000 people. And if the street is not opened completely, which means it's curving, that's already another. That's three sfekot already here. Therefore, for sure. So one doubt from the Torah, you have to go to the strict side. 50-50, you have to go to the strict side. You cannot be lenient. Two doubts make it 75-25. You have the first doubt, 50-50. And on the 50, you also have a doubt. So you cut it to 25-25. So it's 75% chance that it's allowed, 25% that is not allowed. And the Torah say you always follow the majority. And there is a doubt, you follow the majority. Since there is two sfekot, you follow the majority. However, some Ashkenazim poskim, they're more strict. And they say it's true that sfeka makes it permitted, but only when the two sfekot are equal sfekot. If the one safek is very unlikely, then it doesn't make it as an official safek. You need two big sfekot, not one safek is 1 to 1,000,000, you know? So it's a matter of opinion, matter of logic. Both convincing. It can be like this, it can be like that. Since it's a sur karet, some Ashkenazim say, why should we take the risk? Why should we take a risk in the place of Eruv? That's why many Ashkenazim, they don't hold of the Eruv. When it comes to places that have only one doubt, two doubts, but they're not equal doubts. However, for Ashkenazim, it's easier, because the Ashkenazim follow the Rama. They don't need two doubts. That's their posek. The Shulchan Aruch, they go by the Rama, not by Rabbi Yosef Karo, if there's machloket. That's why Ashkenazim almost everywhere metaltelim, and Sfaradim almost everywhere are not carry on the street. The question is if a Sfaradi can call a little Ashkenazi girl or a guy to be metaltel for them the stroller on Shabbat, where there is an Ashkenazi Eruv. The Ashkenazim carry to begin with. They walk Shabbat with the stroller everywhere. But Sfaradi also wants to take his baby to go to his in-laws. But he can't. He's not holding from this Eruv. He wants to call the little girl, can you come push the stroller for us? Use her like a goy shel Shabbat. To call a goy to do it, we have an halacha, you're not allowed to tell the goy to do restriction for you on Shabbat. But where does it say you're not allowed to tell a Jew not to do something that he's allowed? You're not allowed. I'll give you an example. If you accepted Shabbat 1 hour before the time, Shabbat begins at 8, you start Shabbat 7. You go to Daven Mincha 6:45. For you 7, you already say Lecha Dodi. So you finish now, you Shabbat. But Shabbat officially will start in an hour when it's going to get dark. And then you forgot something. Oh, I forgot to shut the light in my bedroom. How I'm going to sleep tonight? So you run quickly. Hey, Mr. Leibovitz, do me a favor. Go to my house. Go into this room. You're going to see the light is on. Please shut it. For Mr. Leibovitz, you just came from work. Shabbat is an extra hour. He has time now to take a shower, to go to the mikveh, to get ready. He has time. He didn't accept Shabbat. Are you allowed to tell him? Absolutely. You're not telling him to do a restriction. And the the restriction not to tell a goy to do melachot for you, it's only to a goy because Chazal made this decree. But Chazal never made a decree not to tell a Jew to do something for you if he's permitted. I'll give you an example. There is muktzeh in Shabbat. It's called muktzeh michamat chisron kis. Something that is very valuable to the owner of it. That since it's so valuable, he did not plan to use it on Shabbat. He's hiding it. He used it only on a very special occasion. And therefore, he took it out of his mind and he cannot use it on Shabbat because it's muktzeh. However, Mr. Billionaire came to his house, that this thing for him, if he see it on the street, he does not bend down to pick it up. For the poor guy, it's very precious. So it's chisron kis. It's something very valuable. So he takes it once in a blue moon and uses it. But the rich guy, what is it for him? He has hundreds like these on the floor in his backyard. He doesn't care. So for the rich guy, if he moves it on Shabbat, it's no sin. For the poor guy, it's something very big. He doesn't use it only in special occasions. But for the rich guy, it's nothing. The question is, can he tell the rich guy, bring it and put it over here? For him, it's no sin. All these examples that for one Jew it's a problem and for the other is not, there's no gzera of Chazal not to tell from a Jew to a Jew. However, let me ask you a question. What was the incentive of Chazal, the sages, to make this law that you're not allowed to tell Goyim to do melacha for you on Shabbat? It would make life so much easier. Almost everyone would be Shomer Shabbat, technically. You can tell the Goy everything. Drive me to my in-laws, drive me here, drive me there, go do this, turn the lights on, turn the AC on, I forgot this, go to the supermarket, buy me meat. We don't have enough meat for the children. Put it in a bowl over here. Oh, the children got burned, run quickly, get me beans. Life would be great. I want to tell you something. In all my life that I learned, I didn't find a more brilliant decree than this decree that Chazal made. Personally, my personal opinion, they made decrees that are very, very smart and necessary. But I did not see a brilliant decree more than this decree not to tell the Goyim to do melacha for you. Ask me why. Why? To make life harder? Everyone wants easy life. The answer is, if Chazal would not make that decree, there would not be one Jew left in the world today. That's what saved the Jews in the world. You would not have one Jew left. I'll tell you why. 2,000 years ago, when they made this law, if they would not make the law, Jews own businesses, right? Who wants to close his business on Shabbat? $10,000 in a register, $20,000. He has a chain of location, big businesses. How many religious people agree to close their businesses and lose hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from the business of Shabbat? Those big bombastic businesses, they make all kinds of tricks. Sell it to the goy, buy it back on Motzei Shabbos. A lot of people here in the community, that's what they do. They have a star. They're not brave enough to close the business. They know it's $1 million a day. So they say, you know what, instead of losing it, I'll give it to tzedakah. But let me tell you something. If you were allowed to tell anything you want to a goy, every Jew would have a goy that works for him at least for Shabbat and Yom Tov, automatically. Mustafa, Ta'al, come here. Mustafa, bring the car, start the engine, open the door for me, sit inside. Mustafa, go to Manhattan quickly. I want to see what's going on in the store. You come to the store, you stand over there, all the goyim come to shop, and then a big customer comes, and Mustafa, come here, take here, type $950, $2,000, bring here, do this. What happens if Mustafa go to the bathroom, and the customer stand with $10,000 goods in the register? How many months you would survive? All of a sudden, one day Mustafa in last minute didn't show up. The greed would kill everyone. After a while, everyone would say, what's this nonsense? Mustafa press here, Mustafa do this, Ahmed do this. Come on, up. And then within a generation or two, everyone will be Mechalelei Shabbat. Chazal already saw it coming. They know if you're not going to make that, 1 or 2 generations, everyone will be Mechalel Shabbat. No one would remember that my grandfather used to close the store on Shabbat. Everybody knew my grandfather and my grand-grandfather would work on Shabbat. Yes, he doesn't press on a register, he doesn't drive himself, but he went to work as usual. Plus, nobody would go to shul, nobody would sit together with the family, no one would learn Torah on Shabbat. All the extra that Shabbat has, everyone will be in their business. Almost everyone. The Shabbat would lose the value. Chachamim saw it coming, and they, Baruch Hashem, saved us from this problem. Well, I'll ask another 2-3 questions and we'll finish for today. A rabbi that knows how to play chess, he wants to go and participate in a professional competition for chess, that there is an award. Is he allowed or it's Chilul Hashem?
Chilul Hashem.
Regular Jew with the yarmulke, allowed to go to a chess competition?
Yes.
Kiddush Hashem, no? Like I see the brilliance of the Jew.
Good try.
The answer is, it's Chilul Hashem and it's also Bitul Torah. Now you may come and say, he's not going to do it in the 10 hours a day that he learns. It's in the evening. He goes to yeshiva in the morning, he comes home at 7. The competition starts at 8. It's 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever it is. So it's not coming on the expense of the Torah. The answer, it's still Bitul Torah. Why? Not everyone that see him knows where his learning hours. People will say, the rabbi give beautiful lectures, Torah, Torah, Torah. Every second of Torah, it's eternity, and he sit for 3 hours and waste his time on this stupid game? It's all nonsense. It's all speeches. It's Chilul Hashem.
How about if he makes money out of it?
I have a much better way to make money.
Huh?
I have a much better way to make money. I give you a list of criminals, $20,000 a head I give you. What about the money? Not everything justify making money. Next question. When I speak to my rabbi on the phone, do I have to rise out of respect even though he doesn't see it? No. Only when he's in front of me. I'll tell you a story. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Gdol Ador, Zecher Tzadik Livracha in Israel, before he passed away, when he called to speak in Torah with Rav Moshe Feinstein, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, he was rising. He was standing. I asked him, Rabbi, why you stand? Sit, you're not a young man. He said, I'm speaking to Gdol Ador in the world or in America, and I'm going to sit just like this, out of his respect. When Rav Shimon Schwab, also from Monsi, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, even when he was sitting on a wheelchair, because his knees had problems, when he spoke on the phone to Rav Shach, and he was rising right away, even though it was hard for him to stand for a few minutes. Rav Aaron Kotler, Rosh Yeshivat Lakewood, when he spoke to the previous square Rebbe, also he stood. Here are 3 examples. Now, the question is it mandatory? Is it obligation? The answer is no. All the obligation is when he comes in front of you and you rise. Oh, the question is how can you not stand if you speak to such a giant chacham? Sometimes Rabbi wrote a book, and somebody asked him a question about one of the questions that he answered in his book, and he answered a different answer from his own book. How do we handle such a case? First of all, why it happened? Rabbi's answer based on the mood, how his wife made him the coffee this morning. The answer, what do you think? The answer of the Torah, it's black and white. Depend who asks. If a new Baal Tshuva, 1 week is religious. 1 week, he asks you a question. You don't give him the same answer you give somebody that is 25 years a rabbi already. You have to know, you have to calculate. For you, you have to do. For you, you're not allowed to do. That's what it is. Sometimes there are answers that the rabbi writes in a book because they cannot write otherwise. For instance, they cannot write in their books, you're allowed to copy CDs, copyrights, the law of the government, because tomorrow morning the FBI come and put him in jail. So he has to write what he writes. But if you come and ask him in a room what to do, he asks you more questions, how the scenario is, and sometimes the answer is you're allowed. Sometimes there's answers that it's allowed, but the rabbi will tell you, don't publish it in my name. I asked a big rabbi a question about a couple that became religious in my lectures about 16 years ago. They just became religious, and the woman has a son from first marriage, and he has a bar mitzvah. He lives with his father, and they make a bombastic bar mitzvah, and the shul is far away. They're not going to drive with a car. But they have nowhere to sleep there because they're not exactly in an ideal situation with the ex. So she's asking to walk there, and it will be 4 hours walk. Can we take the subway on Shabbat? Are you allowed to take the subway on Shabbat? What sin is to take the subway on Shabbat? You don't drive. You don't create any energy. You don't affect the power of the subway. So the only sin, there are 2 sins here. One is carrying the money. Today I think it's magnetic card, but it used to be a token.
No money, Metro card.
Okay, Metro card. Today it's a Metro card. In the old days it used to be a token. Last time I took a train, there was a coin. So you have to take the token, okay? Which means some people can make a necklace. Like in Israel, they put the key with a necklace. Oh, every day, all week. I remember kids used to come to my school. Their mother used to put the key on their neck because they knew they're going to lose it. So a lot of the kids had the key. So now you walk with that all week. You're allowed to walk with that on Shabbat. So that's really the main sin here on taking the subway. And the second sin, it's called maritime. It's reputation. What? You're a religious Jew, you take the subway on Shabbat? But there are ways around it. What if you come on Friday and take a token, put it inside, and turn it? You pay the subway 1 day in advance. In the old days, I don't know, I haven't been in a subway more than 20 years, but in the old days, you could sneak in. There was a revolving door, but there was a way to jump above, like a I don't know how it is today. But and back when the question was relevant, there was a way to hook it up and quit and jump in. If the cab doesn't change, they usually don't catch you. They're busy with their phone calls. So the question now, if nobody see a yarmulke, he has a baseball hat, and a woman, she dressed, nobody knows that she's religious, and they sneak in, but they put the money inside in advance. Or somehow they make a chain with the token. When they get there, they put it in, and that's it. So in that case, if they'll do that, they're actually not violating any rule. Now, if a person asks you this question, and is 20 years religious, everybody would say, cut the nonsense. You're disturbing me. But when you have a Baal Tshuva 1 week, and you tell her not to go to her son bar mitzvah, what will be the outcome? Religion is not for me. She gets in a car, they drive, and who knows today where they would be. So the brilliant Chacham, he told me, tell them they can do it in this way. He gave me an advice what to tell them, but don't ever say it in my name. Still alive, one of Gdolei Ador. Don't ever say it in my name. And I kept my promise. I said that story many times, but I never say his name. Because he told me, don't ever say it in my name. You see? Why? Because he knows it's going to bring him a lot of headache. What? You're allowed to take the subway? What is this? Chilul Shabbat? You have to know the case. Now, that rabbi, in his book, when they ask him, are you allowed to take the train on Shabbat? What's the answer? No. Here you go. He said yes to this couple. So this is an example how to answer. Rav Eliashiv Zatzal say, Baalei Tshuva, don't ever tell them the extras. Only the requirements by the law. Never tell them. Why? If you come to a big Hasid, and he goes everything extra, there's nothing for him is Ikar Adin. What's the most strict way? Don't tell me, I want the most strict way. It becomes a habit. Everything that is not strict for him, it's a sin, even though it's not true. Torah allows. But for him, it's a sin. So if somebody is a Baal Tshuva, come to him, Mr. Hasid, am I allowed to do? Shake it. You're going. Get out of here. Why are you asking such a question? But it was really 100% allowed. No problem. If you do it, Hashem would be pleased with him. No problem. Rav Eliashiv say, when it comes to Baalei Tshuva, you don't ever tell them extras. Only what's required. Later on, they want to do extra, they have the right to do extra. And you're not allowed to tell them the extra. Why? They may break. It takes time to build yourself spiritually. If you break their spirits and they drop everything, it was for nothing. If you only tell them what they must do, it will be a lot easier for them. They wouldn't give up. 10 years later, you want to give them the extra, you can tell them, some people are machmir, they do extra. Don't tell them you must do. Some people are machmir. Same thing, the Hasidim. When someone comes to stay by them for Shabbat and he doesn't have a beard, right away the kids looked at them like they goyim. Who is this shegetz mommy in Yiddish? Baruch Hashem, they don't understand. So now, some Hasidim are clever, some less. Some say, shh, don't talk next to the shegetz. But some say, why are you calling him a shegetz? He's a Jew. But mommy, he doesn't have a beard. Didn't we learn that someone without a beard is a shegetz? So she has to tell them, no, there are different kind of Jews than us. We are more machmir, we do it 100% with extras, we don't want to take discount. But some people, they do it a little bit different. It doesn't mean they bad. That's the right way to raise the kids. Otherwise, it's sinat chinam. This Hasidic boy will hate an innocent Jew that did no violation. Actually, the opposite, this Jew is in a higher position than him in Shamayim. because זה בעל תשובה. במקום שבעלי תשובה עומדים, אפילו צדיקים גמורים אינם עומדים. And therefore, you look down at him when in reality he's in 10 steps higher than you, in Shamayim. So you got to be very careful. We cannot rush to put an X on anyone. Especially, even if you see a person make a sin in your own eyes, you don't know his test. For you, it looks a piece of cake. Wow, what a loser. How can he not keep this mitzvah? It's such an easy mitzvah. Don't be so sure. For you, it's very easy because you're attracted to this mitzvah. For him, he has such a resistance that kills him not to do it. And from time to time, when he fell, that's a very big contribution by him every time he passed this test. And the last question for today. Is an Ashkenazi can make a Sephardi his rabbi, or the other way around? Or everyone has to keep according to his tradition? In other words, Hasid must have a Hasidish Rebbe. Litvish, Litvish Rebbe. Sephardi, Sephardi Rebbe. Yemenite, Yemenite Rebbe. Or, it doesn't matter, as long as he knows what you are. And he answers you according to what you need to know. Because when Rav Ovadia Yosef used to answer in his book, many times he say, V'achenu Ashkenazim, this is what they do. He knew everything what the Ashkenazim do. So if the Chacham knows Faradi, Ashkenazi, knows all opinions. Like I asked my cousin, he knows the opinion of everybody. Rav Eliashiv used to say this, Rav this, Rav that. He knows the opinion of everyone, so he can answer according to who the person is. But the question is it allowed or not allowed? Or everyone have to follow the path of his father?
The master, you see that Svardish Shul is Ashkenazi Rabbi. I see myself.
Right, you're right, right. You answer. You give. You see, you conclude the lecture. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.